The desert did not forgive. It only remembered. And on the morning Eleanor Nell Crowe rode back into Black Hollow, the sand remembered her blood. The town rose out of the dust like a half-finished grave. Wooden buildings, warped by heat, windows clouded with years of smoke and regret, and a church bell that hadn't rung since the last honest man died. Nell sat tall on her ash-colored horse, coat long and dark, boots scarred from miles that had no names. The wind tugged at her hat brim as if trying to see her face, to confirm the rumor carried by vultures and drunks alike, that the girl who was buried alive outside town 7 years ago had returned. She rode slow, not because she feared them, but because fear was something she no longer wasted. Every step into Black Hollow peeled back memory. Her father's laugh, the smell of gun oil, the night the sky burned red, and the sheriff chose silence over justice. People stopped moving when they saw her. A man froze mid-spit. A woman dragged her child behind a doorway. Even the piano inside the rusted Spur saloon stuttered into silence. Nell's eyes moved, calm and cutting, counting exits, windows, hands near holsters. Power, she had learned, was never loud. It waited. Her horse's hooves struck, the dirt like a verdict as she dismounted outside the saloon where it all ended once before. Inside, the air was thick with sweat, smoke, and unfinished confessions. Faces turned. Recognition flickered, then denial, then fear. A man laughed too loudly and said her name wrong on purpose. She ignored him. At the bar sat Thomas Reed, older now, heavier, but still wearing the same silver star that had watched her father bleed out on Main Street. He didn't turn around at first. Sheriffs like Reed always believed time protected them. Nell took a seat 2 stools away, set a coin on the counter, and asked for water. The bartender's hands shook. Reed finally looked. His eyes widened, then narrowed, then hardened like stone that had decided to survive the storm. "Ghosts don't drink," he said. Nell met his stare. "Then you should be praying," she replied. The room leaned in without realizing it. Reed stood slowly, hand hovering near his gun, his voice measured. "You are dead." Nell smiled, small and sharp. So was the truth. Funny how that works. She rose close enough, now that he could see the scar on her neck where rope once tried and failed to finish the job. "I came for my land," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, and for what was buried with me. Laughter rippled, nervous, uncertain. Reed scoffed. "Your land belongs to the Crowe Company now." Nell nodded. "I know. That's why I'm here." The name cracked the room open. Crowe Company owned everything now, the mines, the water routes, the law. Its founder, Marcus Crowe, had built an empire on stolen deeds and clean lies. He was also Nell's uncle. Blood, she had learned, was the most expensive currency. Outside, thunder rolled without rain. Reed leaned closer, voice low. "You should leave before you make trouble. You can't outrun." Nell stepped past him, toward the door. "I didn't come to run." She paused, glanced back. "Tell Marcus his niece is home." When she walked out, the town exhaled. But the desert did not. Nell rode to the edge of Black Hollow, to the place where the ground dipped, unnaturally, the place no one visited anymore. She dismounted and knelt, fingers brushing the dirt where she had clawed her way back into the world. 7 years ago, they had tied her hands, beaten her quiet, and thrown her into the dark because she refused to sign away her father's land. It was a boy named Eli who dug her out, hands bleeding, crying as if sorry could change fate. Eli was gone now. Everyone who had helped her disappeared or died. Except her. She stood, dusted her knees, and mounted again. By nightfall, she reached the outskirts of the Crowe estate. A mansion built wrong for the land, too big, too proud. Lights burned inside. Marcus Crowe sat at a long table, silver hair combed back, voice smooth as oiled leather as he discussed shipments and bribes. When Nell stepped into the doorway, conversation died like a candle in wind. Marcus stared. His smile came late. "Nell," he said softly, like a man greeting a dream that might bite. "You survived. You underestimated the ground," she said. He gestured for guards. She didn't move. "Call them," she said. "I counted 12 on the way in." Marcus waved them off, eyes never leaving her. "What do you want?" he asked. Nell stepped forward and placed a folded deed on the table. Her father's name, her birthright. "Everything you stole," she said. "And every man who helped you steal it." Marcus laughed, slow and tired. You think one woman can undo an empire? Nell leaned in, voice steady as a loaded gun. Empires fall all the time. They just need a reason. Outside, wind howled. Somewhere far away, a bell rang by accident. Nell turned to leave, knowing the chase had begun. By morning, Black Hollow would choose sides. By sundown, Blood would remember the sand. And as she rode into the dark, Nell Crowe knew one thing for certain. The West had tried to kill her once. It would not get a second chance. Black Hollow woke uneasy the next morning, like a town that had dreamt of its own funeral. Nell Crowe watched it from the ridge above, the same place her father once taught her, how to shoot straight without rushing the breath. The town looked smaller from here, less powerful, like a lie exposed by distance. Smoke rose from chimneys. Merchants opened doors pretending yesterday hadn't happened, and men checked their guns with hands that shook just enough to notice. Nell adjusted the strap of her rifle and rode down slow, letting them see her coming. Fear traveled faster than horses. By the time she reached Main Street, Marcus Crowe already knew she had spent the night alive. He always knew. That was the problem. The Crowe Company reacted before breakfast. Armed riders posted at the well, guards outside the bank. The sheriff, suddenly very busy walking circles like authority still meant something. Nell dismounted outside the old print shop, abandoned since the truth stopped being printed, and stepped inside. Dust layered the presses like forgotten sins. She pulled a folded paper from her coat. Her father's last letter. Ink faded, but words still sharp. He had known. He had always known. Marcus would come for the land once the mines were discovered beneath it. Outside, a boot scraped. Nell didn't turn. You're late, she said. Eli Mercer stepped into the light, older, scarred, breathing like a man who'd been running from ghosts. You're not dead, he said, like the sentence might collapse if spoken too loud. Nell faced him. You dug me out. That made it your problem. Eli swallowed. They've been watching you since dawn. Good, she said. Then they'll see what happens next. They moved through back alleys in memory, gathering the ones the Crowe Company couldn't fully break. The widow, whose land was taken for pennies. The preacher who buried too many without names. The former Crowe guard who learned loyalty was a one-way deal. By noon, rumors hardened into intent. Marcus called a meeting at the bank, the symbolic heart of his empire. Gold made men brave and stupid. Nell walked in through the front doors. Silence fell heavy. Marcus stood at the far end, calm as wrought. You're forcing my hand, he said. Nell stepped forward. You buried mine first. The shooting started with a mistake. Someone flinched. Someone fired, and the West remembered what it was good at. Glass shattered. Screams tore through money-stained air. Nell moved like the desert wind, fast, unforgiving, precise. Eli covered her flank. When the smoke cleared, bodies lay where promises used to be. Marcus had vanished. Cowardice, she thought, was his true inheritance. By nightfall, the Crowe estate burned. Not the house, the records. Deeds, bribes, names. Nell stood watching flames eat paper that had ruined lives. This won't end it, Eli said. No, Nell replied, but it will make him bleed. Thunder rolled again, closer now. Somewhere, a bell rang on purpose this time. The West was choosing, and Marcus Crowe was running out of places to hide. The rain finally came the night. Nell Crowe decided to end it, cutting through the desert in sharp silver, lines as if the sky itself had grown tired of waiting. Black Hollow lay below her, half lit, half afraid. A town balanced between what it was and what it would become by morning. Marcus Crowe was inside the old courthouse, the last place left where he could pretend the law still bent for him, surrounded by men whose loyalty had been bought, too many times to survive one more payment. Nell stood at the edge of the street, coat soaked, hair loose, face calm in a way that terrified those who knew her best. Eli waited a few steps behind, shotgun heavy in his hands. Once you walk in, he said, there's no walking back out the same. Nell nodded. I didn't come back to be the same. She crossed the street alone. The courthouse doors creaked open like a warning no one listened to. Inside, lanterns cast long shadows that twisted men into monsters. Marcus stood near the judge's bench, older now than his power could hide, eyes sharp but tired, like a man who had mistaken control for immortality. You've burned everything, he said, voice echoing. There's nothing left to take. Nell stepped forward, boots ringing against the floor. I didn't come to take, she said. I came to return. She tossed her father's badge onto the floor. His name, his land, his life. Marcus laughed, brittle. The West doesn't care about names. It cares about who survives. Nell met his gaze. Then you should have killed me properly. Guns rose. Time stretched thin. The first shot came from nowhere and everywhere, and then the room collapsed into violence. Nell moved through it like memory itself. Unstoppable. Unavoidable. Eli fired once, twice, then vanished into smoke. Men fell, promises broke. Marcus ran. He always did. Nell followed him out into the rain, boots splashing through puddles that reflected firelight and fear. They reached the edge of town where the desert waited, endless and honest. Marcus turned, slipping in mud, breath ragged now. You win, he said. Just end it. Nell raised her gun, then lowered it. No, she said softly. The West will. She walked past him, leaving him kneeling, broken, exposed. By morning, the men he betrayed would finish what she didn't. Nell returned to black. Hollow as dawn cracked the sky open. People stepped out of their homes, cautious, curious. She pinned her father's badge to the courthouse door and nailed. The deed beside it. Land returned to its people. No speech, no crown. Legends didn't need applause. She rode out as the sun rose, rain-washing blood into the dirt, the desert remembering her not as a victim, but as a warning. And somewhere between dust and horizon, the West learned her name and knew it would never forget it.